Here with us is money expert and financial advisor, Kristen O'Keefe Merrick. Welcome.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Such a pleasure having you here. And I mean, this is something that we all need, no matter what age, no matter what level. So you got to tell me, Kristen, what does financially fit actually mean?
Yeah, so I think the first part of financially fit is knowing what you have and what you owe, right? Getting that full picture of, if you own property, how much is it valued at? If you have money, where does it sit? What's it doing for you? If you have debt, how much debt you owe?
The big D word.
The big D word, which we don't like to word, next to the B word, which is budget. Yeah. And then once you've been able to ascertain what you have, how can you consistently optimize it? Right. And that should be ongoing, and that should be every day of every week of every year.
Right, so it's not even about how much money you have, but it's what you do with it and how you process it.
Absolutely.
I love that. Well, we have Nicky and Jamie Roberts who have been facing some financial challenges, and they called on us for some help. Take a look.
I'm Nicky Roberts.
I'm Jamie Roberts.
We've been married for 2.5 years.
That's about right.
We're a blended family. We have 3 children. When we first got married, we had a budget. We had a financial plan. Life was looking great.
Yeah, but things have definitely changed.
For the worse.
Somebody lost their job. And the finances have maintained themselves.
It's real bad. I used to call myself the low budget diva. I'd write everything down. I'd shop at thrift stores. Thrift stores was my jam.
The expenses are the same, but the income's not there. And that's a big problem.
A big problem. We're both comedians. I do voiceover work.
Yeah, and I was in radio sales. And then COVID hit. And then that income went away.
The problematic spending would be big box stores. That's one of the problems I have. The budget is whatever's on sale, put it in a basket and go. And I go to these big box stores, and I said I was only going to spend $130, and then it turns out to like $500, $600. But this is all stuff that we use. It's just that the budget has gone out of the window. Now, I don't know what you're spending money on.
You?
No, stop. Nick, we need your help.
Come on, man.
Such a fun-loving couple. Please welcome Nicky and Jamie Roberts. All right, now, Nicky and Jamie, you guys created a budget, about 3 years ago when you first got married. Tell me all about the budget.
Well, we started the budget because we wanted to know what we had before we walked into this situation. So she had like a couple credit cards, I had a couple credit cards, I had student loans. And then the budget allowed us to actually pay off some of the debt. And then when we got married, the budget kind of went out of the window.
No. The budget went on cruise control and crashed and burned. That's what happened. But I feel like there was communication kind of lapse.
Right.
And we just...
Do you feel like together y'all can figure this thing out?
Yeah.
I
but
think
we
need help.
Yeah, we do need help.
That's why we're here.
All right, Kristen, so, I mean, clearly, you got some stuff on. What do you feel like?
I'm ready. I'm ready for this challenge. So I want to first celebrate some things. First of all, you guys paid off your student loans. You bought a home.
Wait, you paid them all? You paid off your student? That is to be commended. That's something that traps us all.
They bought a house in the last year, right?
Yeah.
And they had a baby. So there's been a lot of really good things to celebrate. And I think that's part of your financial journey is you should always be proud of yourself and be looking at the good things. There are some things we need to work on. I think the first thing that I noticed were the credit cards, in the world. I think we just popped up. You can kind of see that on the top.
Oh, they put all y'all business out there. Put all y'all business out there.
This is a vulnerable moment, okay?
Right.
This is your, the top 6 are your credit cards, 4 of which are your personal, and then all of your monthly expenses. You've got your mortgage and everything else on there. You've got things like takeout, entertainment. We're going to talk a little bit more about expenses, but let's talk about the credit cards initially. This is always my number one issue. Why are there so many?
Oh, good question. Oh, you want me to answer that? Okay.
Why are you looking at me?
Well, that's part of it right there. Because we have, thank the Lord, we have good credit, so we're able to obtain more credit cards, but that's a problem as well. That's a pitfall.
Right, so you're like, oh, you know what, maybe we put so much on this one, but now we kind of need another one, so let's go open up a new one.
And then when you get on an airplane, they give you an application,
Okay.
and then blah, blah, blah.
Oh my God, these points.
Here's these points.
So these points are there to trick you. okay? These credit card points are there to really reel you in and keep you using your credit cards, right? The only world in which you should be using credit cards for points is if you're in a position to pay off those cards in full each month and then reap the rewards. If you are actually paying balances and paying interest each month, your interest payments are far exceeding what the silly little amount of points that they're giving, right? So
That makes sense.
let's all change our mindset about points. So we can talk about consolidation, right? There's a way to consolidate these. There's various different ways. One is if you have cash on hand to try to pay off the highest rate of your card, you should know what your rates are. Okay, so each rate on a credit card ranges, but it's usually between 20 and 25% per year. That compounds on a daily basis. That feels gross. Every day, your principal is growing and growing and growing. So what you want to do is you want to look at the highest card, get rid of that first, and so on and so forth down the line. If you have cash on hand, you can try to maybe, because you have small amounts,
Right.
so that you could like throw 2,500 at one, and if you had that available. So if you don't
Throw
have,
2,500 at one.
yeah, and we're going to talk about how to do it. We're going to talk about how to do this. But the secondary part is there's consolidation. You can move some of these balances to these zero APR cards, 18-month introductory rates where you're not paying interest for 18 months. This is a really good hack, especially if you have good credit and you're able to get these cards. This is a good idea. And then the final part on the credit cards is to stop using them.
This is great advice. Is this stuff that you guys feel like you probably could accomplish or you could put to practice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The secondary part of all this is the spend it. Okay, and this is where we kind of have to get a little in the weeds here, and we're going to have to, it's a little uncomfortable, but what I tell my clients is, when was the last time you both sat down with your credit card statements and with your bank statements with like an old-fashioned highlighter and went through and talked about the trends in your spending? Right? There's a lot of these baked-in costs of convenience that we pay for now where we don't even remember spending the money because all of it is just going transactionless. Right? There's no exchange. I'm not going and buying a cup of coffee from Nick.
You don't see the money go out.
Right?
So therefore, you don't pay attention to
Right?
it.
I'm not giving you $5 anymore. I'm just like swiping my card and moving on.
Tapping your phone.
Or tapping my phone.
Such great tips. And
Thank
Kristen,
you.
I know you got some more tips for us coming up. The money moves everyone needs to make for financial freedom this year in 2022. And then we all going to apply it, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Let's do it. Welcome back, family. Best energy on TV, getting to the best you in 2022. And we are talking about financial fitness and the money moves that we all can make towards financial freedom. Money expert and financial advisor Kristen O'Keefe Merrick is here. And she's been helping out Jamie and Nicky, who, you know, have some financial issues. They're doing pretty well for themselves, but we gonna get right to that, to those money moves, Kristen. What are they?
Yeah, so one is kind of what we talked about before the break is this deep dive into your spending, right? You've got this shopping thing, right? And we've all been to Target. We all know how this goes. You go in, you buy the thing you don't want, and then you regret it, but you're spending too much. You have to figure out where the money's going, and then once you can really get a sense of how much you can divert away from spending on the credit cards into a savings account, the next step is trying to ascertain what you do with this savings account, right? This whole idea is investing in your future, right? Investing in your long-term goals, determining what those goals are. You need to talk about what they are with each other, right? What are your goals? Set yourself a little date, have a weekly date, talk about these things, but create real achievable goals. We want to save $5,000 this year. We're going to do it on a monthly basis. I don't really like to use the word retirement because I think people glaze over at me, so I'm going to talk about financial empowerment, this idea that at some point down the road, you are not going to want to do the job you're doing and you're going to do something different. How are you going to get there? How are you going to achieve that? How are you going to pay for college for the kids if they want to go? And that's really, this all lies within you two with the ability to make these goals and make and achieve them in a way that's realistic for you.
I love
and not
that.
overwhelming.
Yeah, and you talk about, you know, we talking about wealth for generations and, you know, creating a successful pathway for our children. You said that there's a simple way for Jamie and Nicky and, you know, all parents out there to start building substantial wealth for their kids that can make the kids millionaires by the time that they're 35.
Oh, yeah. So
Tell me about this.
This is the magic wand part of the segment where I basically do magic math, compound interest, okay? So if I could convince you to not go and spend $500 a month and instead take that $500 and put it into some kind of investment account. It could be a 529 college savings plan for your kid. It could be an IRA. It doesn't really matter what it is. And it grows at an annual rate of 8% compounding, okay? That is a pretty average rate these days. That $500 times 12 months is $6,000 a year, okay? Now you've got yourself a situation where for $6,000 a year times 18 years, by the time your kid's going to college, you have now been able to save $270,000 as a nest egg for your child to go to college. If your child decides, nope, college isn't for me, we're going to do something different, and you continue on to add that money, that $6,000 until they're 30, you're going to have $800,000 saved for that child.
That's great.
Okay? And if you decide to continue on, your kid can have a $1.2 million by the time they're 35 years old.
Wow.
And just this is all math.
Right.
This is all this. You can do this for retirement too. So if sending your kid to college is not your thing, and retirement is, then it's just a matter of the mindset and how you do it. And really, this can be done if you are really disciplined about it.
Right.
Such great advice. Kristen, thank you so much for being here, getting us financially fit. Nikki and Jamie, thank y'all for putting all your business out there in the street.
Thank you.
Much continued success in all your careers. You guys are amazing.